Welcome to BodyHacking Build a Better You, the podcast where we unlock the secret to living a longer, healthier life. I'm your host, Michaela Morell, and I'm here to provide you with the tools and knowledge to empower you to create the blue zone within your family. Our episodes are packed with science and evidence-based solutions that you can bring into your home. If you have tried everything else without success, this podcast is for you. In today's episode, I'm sharing my own story. Thanks to my environment and my inherited gut microbiome, I ended up with a body that kept on getting sicker and sicker, no matter what I did or how clean I ate. So today I'll be sharing about my poor immune system, my food intolerances, and my chronic pain that caused me to have a significant reduced life quality. And I will get vulnerable and share my hopelessness of never having anyone believing in me or being able to help me with my health. Perhaps my story can inspire you or someone you know. Let's dive in. I am so excited and I'm so honored that you're here with me today. It's episode number 1, the episode where I will kind of share my vision for this podcast, but also tell you my story. And I am not sure if I'm going to be able to tell it without tears, because even though I have some distance to all the events, my health was so poor and it affected me so negatively that I still get emotions telling my story. But first of all, I want to introduce myself a little bit. I am Michaela Morell. I'm a mother of 3. I'm happily married with my husband since 15 years. And I have my company Food Changes Lives because I want to inspire people to understand that food is either changing our life for the better or for the worse. So every single day when we're eating food, it's either having a positive impact of our health or a negative impact on our health. And I know that there are many people out there. We're trying to do our best. We're trying to understand nutrition. And I actually have a background in business and marketing. But there was a couple of events that happened when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And one of them was that my mom was diagnosed with colon cancer, and I will do a separate episode. So next episode will be about her and her story because I think it is so powerful. So I want to tell that story in the next episode. But really, knowing that what nutrients are able to do in the healing journey of a body, it is so fascinating. And I am so passionate about this topic just because I've seen her survive colon cancer not only once, but 2 times. And the second times, the doctor said that there was nothing they could do. But I will talk more about that in the next episode. In today's episode, I want to give you a little bit of a background of me, Michaela Morell, who's running this podcast, and BodyHacking Build a Better You. That is a podcast where I want to give you all the knowledge you need and empower you. And I'm going to talk a lot about blue zones because there are blue zones around in the world where people are just living longer and healthier, because it's not only about living as long as possible. We want to live as healthy as possible. We want to be vibrant. We want to be able to play with our kids and our grandkids. We just don't want to survive. We want to be able to thrive. So this podcast, if you're sticking with me, I will educate you in a way that no one else has been educating you before. And I am the person that is always asking why. So I love going down to the nitty-gritty details. I'm very detail-oriented. And when other people are sitting and watching Netflix, I am sitting and reading publications on PubMed, okay? So I have a very big passion for nutrition, but I'm going to take you a little bit back and give you a little bit of backstory of who I am. And if you are not thinking that that is important, skip ahead and watch the next episode. And I am not for everyone, just saying that my views, however, is from a body perspective. So I don't care about what diet you are eating, if it's religious beliefs or if it's some other beliefs that you're having. I do not care. The only thing I care about is how the body is built up, what nutrients we need to be able to build that body up. And I'm simply talking about our body from a nutritional perspective. making sure that we're getting all the essentials into our body, all the essential fatty acids, all the essential proteins, all the essential vitamins and minerals. Okay. But I grew up in Sweden. I'm one of 8 kids. And growing up, I always had a big interest in figuring things out. I'm a problem solver. So when my parents did not have any money, I figured out ways of making my own money. When my animals were sick, I figured out ways to help them. And I was reading books. And when I got my first dog, it was my family's dog, but I took the dog. She was sleeping with me. I trained that dog. Did not know anything about training dogs, but I found a book. I read that book and I trained that German Shepherd to be the best, fluffiest companion of my life when I was 6 years old. Growing up, however, I did struggle with some health issues that I wasn't aware of. And one of the things was that I was constantly constipated. I also struggled with parasites time to times. I actually was rushed into the hospital once because I was in so much stomach pain. They thought that my umbilical cord had been breaking. But it ended up being parasites. So many parasites that they were surrounding my organs and making damage and was pressing on the organs. And that was causing my pain. So a lot of me growing up have been forming me to be very interested in nutrition because I was also very big into sports. I played something called innebandy, which is basically indoor floor hockey, um, but with twists. Okay, it's a Scandinavian sport. But me being very, very physically active, I was training lots of horses because I got into horses when I was 12. Um, and then doing all of that and then moving away from home and start elaborating with different diets and so on, I started understanding that, wow, I can actually go and poop every day. We're going to have another episode about poop and parasites in the future. But I was fascinated that my stomach could work because it had never been. For me, it was normal to go to the bathroom every other week. That was just normal to me. But my own health story really started, like I really started paying attention to it when I got really sick after my first child. I was 25 years of age. I had been working hard my whole life. I had a marketing and business background, and I was also owning my own company. I had 22 horses before I met my husband and decided to sell off my horses and sell off my company. But I've always been very active. I've always been eating home cooked meals. I was 14 years the first time I went to a restaurant. So we did not have habit of going out and eating at a restaurant. We had a habit of home cooked meals. And yeah, it was store-bought bread every morning. That is true. But other than that, we ate a pretty good diet. But that little piece of gluten every single day that I've been eating my whole life and ignoring the fact that I'm actually gluten sensitive and that caused me constipation, it caused me to have more health issues. So when I was 25, I had just delivered my first son, Dean, and it's probably going to be episodes about pregnancies and postpartum stuff and so on as well. So I'm not going to go into too much depth today. Depth. Sorry, I'm from Sweden. You will hear me not being able to pronunciate some words every now and then. Um, but I was diagnosed with shingles when he was just a few weeks old. And when I went to the doctors, because I understood that something was wrong, I was in so much pain. And I usually don't go to doctors at all. If I break a leg, it takes me a day or two to actually go to the doctor. I've been running around with loose bone pieces in my foot for a year before I searched. I mean, went to the doctor and got help from them. I needed 3 different surgeries to remove all the bone pieces. I have a pretty high pain threshold, and I don't want to go to the doctors if it's not necessary. But this time I understood that this is something extraordinary. This is something that is not normal, and it was so painful. And I went to the doctors, and the doctors misdiagnosed me and gave me medication for something completely different. I went back home, was happy that I had a diagnosis, happy that I got medication, took the medication, started Googling, and found out that, okay, those rashes that they gave me medication for doesn't look anything like the ones I had. So I did some research. I put out some questions in some groups for skin groups on Facebook, and everyone concluded that it was shingles. And the word for shingles in Norwegian is very fitting. It's called helvetets eld, which is like the fire of hell. And I've really, really felt that in my body, that it was unlike any other pain I've ever experienced. And it just became worse and worse and worse. And because the doctors misdiagnosed me, I wasn't able to get the medication in time for it to have any effect. So I never got any medication, actually. And I just had to write it out. But being 25 years old, first time mom, having a newborn, everything is hurting, nursing hurts, um, and your baby also having colic, which was no fun, and not being able to even wear clothes because it was so painful. I cannot have a blanket on. I raised up the temperature in the house like crazy and was sitting naked on the couch watching TV shows to try to speed up time passing. Because when I did a Google search, it showed that, yeah, shingles can be there for a few days to a couple of weeks to a couple of months to a couple of years. And every day, it just got more and more and more painful. And I actually told my husband that I have never understood people that wants to end their life because of pain before. But right now, I can really, really understand that there are people that are living in so much pain that they do not want to keep on living. And that was the first time I gained empathy for that. But it was not the last time, and I'm going to come into that. So when we're moving forward, I did get better eventually. It took a few weeks, but I understood that my immune system was very bad because researching about shingles, it's something that usually 65-year-old people plus is developing that have suppressed immune systems. So I started asking the question, why is my immune system so bad? Because according to myself, I was eating healthy, I was working out, I was living a healthy life, did not have any extraordinary stress in my life, and I felt like I was a very happy place. And yet my immune system was very, very bad. I will explain exactly why it was so bad in detail in another episode when I talk about immune system. But that was a part of my story. Then what happened was that my mom got diagnosed with colon cancer. And I had a big trauma with colon cancer because my grandpa was diagnosed with that. And 3 months after his diagnosis, he was gone. He had passed. So when my mom got her diagnosis, I did all research. I did not sleep. I was awake day and night trying to figure out answers and solutions. And I'm going to tell more about her story next week. She's still with us. You don't have to be worried. I, my mom was able to survive. But that was what really triggered me and my hunger for nutrition to go back to university to study nutrition because I wanted to understand it on a deeper level. I wanted to work with this in the future. And that was really the moment that defined what I'm doing today. Moving forward, I had already taken nutritional studies. I've already been to university for a while by then, and I had my second child, my second boy. And my pregnancy with him was really easy to compare to the first one. My delivery was pretty good too. And he came out and he was just a ray of sunshine. There was nothing wrong with this kid. He was just happy all the time. He slept compared to my first child. But I developed grass and pollen allergy, and that is not that big of a deal. A lot of people are dealing with grass and pollen allergy, but my grass and pollen allergy turned out to be very quickly a cross allergy to lots and lots and lots of food I usually eat on a daily basis. So I became I'm not going to say allergic, but very sensitive and had reactions when I was eating all fruits, including bananas, watermelon, plums, strawberries, and berries as well, strawberries, blackberries, and so on. I reacted to pretty much everything that you're taught in nutritional studies are healthy. And half of the veggies, I could not eat cucumbers, I could not eat carrots, I could not eat avocados. I was reacting very negatively to all of this. So my reality became that I needed 2 to 3 different allergy medications daily to be able to have some fruit and veggies occasionally. And I'm going to go deeper into that in another episode as well. But that kept on going on for over 6 years until I figured it out. And I was frustrated because here I was. I had studied a bunch of nutrition. I'm educating everyone around me to eat more fruit and veggies. And here I am with a body that is reacting negatively to it. But I understood that, okay, because my body is reacting to a banana. I understood it's not the banana itself that it's reacting to. It must be more to it. So I kept on digging and digging and digging. But it took me 6 years of research until I figured it out. But that will be in another episode. What then happened was I finally got pregnant with my third child. But that was after years of having a very low immune system. I was often very, very sick. And that started with after my first child and kept on going on throughout until 2019, where a lot of things started changing for me health-wise. But so what happened was that me having that low immune system, I actually ended up at the hospital several times with really weird symptoms. I could be sick for 4 months in a row, but the doctors never found anything that was wrong with me. I was spot on my nutrition. My values looked amazing. There was no reason for my body to not feel good. But I will talk about that in another episode. After my third child, Emilia, she is my little princess after having 2 boys. My pregnancy with her was very traumatic. I was bedridden the whole pregnancy, and another episode will be about that. But after she was born, I was laying on the couch, and we were living in Texas. I'm having my Texas earrings on today, and we were living in Texas. I have My husband was gone a lot with his work. And I had a son that was 2.5, and then another one that was 5.5. Very active boys. And after she was born, I was just laying on the couch and I was cuddling her. And my neighbor, my bestie in Texas, she had taken my 2 older boys to take care of them so I could have some one-on-one time with my little girl. So I was just laying on the couch, watching television, having skin to skin contact with her. And then suddenly I just hear a snap and I feel a burning sensation from my head down my spine. And I feel like I can't move. She's on top of me. I'm not able to move at all. My phone was only a hand distance away from my hand, but that distance was too far. I couldn't just reach over to grab it because I was in so much pain and it felt like I was paralyzed. And I have never felt this before. It scared me. A lot of thoughts ran through my head. What is happening? Can I move? Will I ever be able to move? And I had to lay there on the couch and wait for my husband to get back home for 3 hours before he got back home. And when he did, I asked him to take the baby, change her poop diaper right away because I wasn't able to, and then come and help me as soon as you can. So he came and he helped me afterwards. And he was wondering if he should call for an ambulance. My rational mind said, I can't physically be hurt. I haven't done anything. I'm not injured. It needs to be just a pinched nerve or something that makes me feel like it, but it's not actually the problem. So I told him just to help me stand up. And I stabilized my neck as he lifted me up. And when I was standing up, I figured out I could stand on my legs. I did have motorical skills in my whole body. It's just my neck that was hurting. But when I was standing completely straight, I could move my head. So I was like, oh, it's probably just a pinched nerve. Let me lay down. I lay down in the bed and I got stuck there for 3 days until my husband finally took me into the emergency room. They did MRIs. They could not find a reason for my pain. They did a lot of different testings. And this was the start of 2 years of hell where I wasn't able to get out of bed by myself. If I was standing completely straight, I could move my head. In any other position, my head was locked into that position and I wasn't able to physically just push through the pain. I needed to use my hands to move my head. So laying down on a pillow, my head was not aligned with my body in the way it would be if I was standing completely straight. So I would wake up every night. I don't know, it's probably hundreds of times. Every time my body tried moving, I would wake up in excruciating pain, and I needed my hands to move my head's position. And remember, this was after I had my third child. This was while I was nursing. She woke up, needed to be nursed on one side, had to move her to the other side. And every night was like terror to me. I was never rested waking up. I had never had close to an amount of the sleep that I would need. And life was hard. It was really hard. And here I am, very passionate about nutrition, about helping people figure out their own body. And I struggled so much with my own body. I was in chronic pain that caused me to feel like paralyzed when I wasn't standing straight. I was struggling with food sensitivities. I could not eat whatever I wanted to, could not even eat healthy foods. I was always sick, very poor immune system. But and it killed me from the inside because here I am. I've always been a very, very vibrant, energetic person that barely never sits still. Always having a project, always helping someone, always doing something for someone. And here I am needing to say no to my kids. No, I can't go camping. No, I can't lift you up. And I saw my life. I was only 33, 34, 35 years of age when all of this was going on simultaneously. And I know by experience, I've seen it, that most health issues, they're just getting worse and worse as we get older. And I cannot imagine a life that was worse. I was on the brink of not wanting to live at all. I kept on choosing life every day because of my kids. But I know how it is to struggle with your health. I know how hard it is to choose life when you're not feeling like choosing it. And that is why I am so passionate about helping, especially women or parents that have kids to live for. They're struggling so much with their health that they don't see a light. They don't have any hope left. Every single, I went to someone and I tried to find the people that could help me. Every single week, I had an appointment scheduled. If it wasn't with the doctor, it was with a chronic therapist or acupuncturist or chiropractor or osteopath. And I was always asking for the best of the best. And every time I went to one of those appointments, they said, I've never seen a case like you. I do not know if I can help you. And getting help from them, it could reduce my pain a little bit. So it could reduce it from 3 to 4 points on the scale of 10. But it would only be for 2, 3 days. And then my pain was back full force. I spent so much money, so much energy to try to figure out my own health. I asked every person I could about if they knew someone that could potentially help. And when every single person you talk with says that they have never seen a case like you, they do not know if they can help you. Hope starts dying. It dies week to week. And even if you're positive and you're trying your best to stay hopeful, thinking that we're taking this one day at a time, tomorrow will be a better day, I will find something to help. After over 600 days of doing that, it starts getting hard and life starts creeping up on you and you start to question everything. However, in 2019, a very good friend of mine called me and said, Michaela, there is a new technology you have to look into. And I understood that it was about cellular health and inflammation. And since then, I have used all of my time to research cellular health because what I learned that day about my own health after taking that test that could show me how my cell function was working, how many pro versus anti-inflammatory building blocks that was building up our cells. And not only the cells in my neck that was painful, but every single cell of my body. Then I started understanding that, wow, a healthy body really begins with a healthy cell. Because when I changed the health of my cells, my whole body started responding positively. My pain started going away. I could start eating food and veggies again. And I started thriving. And today, my youngest child is 6 years old. And my oldest one is 12. And I have a lot better health today than I had when I was in my 20s. And I can feel my body keep on improving still. I still have room for improvement. And that is what this podcast will be about. Body hacking, build a better you. So I will talk about everything that can help improve your cell function. But not only your cells, it's going to be your whole body. It's going to be mind, how our mind is functioning and working, how our thought process is, and how we can understand what brings us joy and what takes our joy away. So I will bring on guests on this podcast that will help me understand more of me to inspire you to keep on finding out more about you. Because I believe that knowledge is power. And with this podcast, I want to empower you to get all the tools necessarily for you to create a blue zone within your body, within your family, and hopefully you're wanting to share this podcast with your community so that you can create a blue zone in your community. And I have a vision of all over the world having passionate people like you that are listening right now, taking charge of your own health, becoming the best that you can, the healthiest version of you, inspiring people around you, improving the generations that comes after us. And together, I can see that we can impact so many, many families all over the world to create blue zones within their family, blessing grandparents to still be alive, seeing their grandkids, blessing grandkids to have a relationship with their grandparents, blessing people in a way that they can avoid unnecessarily diseases. It's actually about 90% of diseases people are talking about. Scientists are saying that could be preventable with lifestyle changes and dietary changes. So let me help you understand this in the easiest way possible. And I know it can be a lot for parents. We get overwhelmed. There's so much data out there. There are so many people saying yes or no or what we should do. And how I do this is I always follow the money. If there is someone telling us that something is bad, I follow the money and see, okay, who is behind, who is actually saying that it's bad. Is it really bad for us, or is it something that someone wants us to believe? Because when we believe that, we have different habits and it leads us to contribute to their wallet. Another thing that is typical of me is that I keep on asking why. And because of this, you will see how I have a very different approach to many, many health issues that we're looking at, because I do not stop. I keep on asking why. So I am honored for you to be here today. I am so grateful for getting this podcast up and running. And the best way you can support this podcast is simply when you feel like I am giving you value, share it on your social media or share it in private messages with people that you love. And together, I truly believe we can change the way people are looking at health. Hey guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, I encourage you to do one thing for me. Think of one person you want to share this podcast with and copy the link and send it right away. Thanks for playing an important role as we're helping more people create blue zones. And if you want to, press the subscribe button